everybody, hello again. It's another video. My wife and I were discussing this, and I think it'll be helpful. Probably not for most of you, at least not now, if you're healthy. But as you get older and you get more medical problems, or if you're like us now, if you're younger and have a slew of severe medical problems ranging, you know, my wife has several medical issues which range from obnoxious to severe, and I've got several medical problems which range from obnoxious to severe. And we both have several doctors, a primary obviously, and then specialists. And you know, when you start to get different problems, they want to put you on different medications, which is a whole other video. Medications, boy oh boy, you want to avoid at all costs putting something man-made into your mouth, because I don't care what any of them say. No medication you put in your mouth doesn't have side effects. Now, excuse me, sure, there's some that are as close to harmless as you can get. Some. But anytime you end up getting...
some of the food.
Okay, yeah, I was going to do that. I was going to give some...
Which one's temptation?
Yeah, anytime you get a medication that's even somewhat serious, you're going to have side effects. And it's just a matter of time, you know. And the doctors are probably through habit, but pretty light on those. Oh, they're not, blah, blah, blah. They always try to downplay them. And I think it's not on purpose. I think it's, at least with most of them, I think it's just a habit. But the problem is you get those side effects, and then you got to take a pill for the side effects, and that new pill gives you more side effects, and then they interact, and you're hosed. For instance, my wife is taking something called prednisone. Stop.
Yes.
And it's an anti-inflammatory, but it's very serious. It wreaks havoc on the rest of your body. It basically slowly kills you. So now she has diabetes. She's osteopenic, meaning her bones. Sorry, start talking fast. I got to remember to slow down. Got to remind me to slow down because I start talking fast.
So I got diabetes.
I rewatch some of my videos and I'm like, man, am I the Micro Machine guy?
You do talk fast.
So diabetes, and which is not very well controlled, and low bone density. That's what osteopenic means. So she fell down last year. April.
At the end of April.
So whatever, 8 months, 6 months, and broke her pelvis.
Yep.
And sorry, I got something in my tooth. Was healing very slowly, but then approximately 4 days ago, started feeling a lot more pain than normal.
Yeah.
In her, hip,
groin,
girdle, region. So we went back in, and they're like, we see a bunch of new small fractures. And it's not like we're doing WWE over here. So those were just from walking up and down the stairs. And what? Oh, there's nothing up here. So, so the problem is this prednisone she needed for something called MG, which they say she has.
It's neuromuscular disease.
It's a neuromuscular
where there's not enough acetylcholine in the gap between the nerve and the muscle, so your muscles get weakened after like prolonged activities. So it's like
so shit's fucked up, yo. So
and
anyway,
I have rheumatoid arthritis.
And
Addison's.
The problem is with
there's
all
a couple
these.
of other things that I'm using the prednisone.
But then here's the problem with these. This is a side.
She's loving
There's
it.
no for sure test. Like there's a for sure test, but she doesn't have it in her blood.
But I
so
do have it in
kind
my
of.
muscle.
So
there's a muscular test.
So
don't forget that.
Yeah, but that could mean anything.
No, it's specific, babe.
Babe, that's specific to what they know of. There could be a different disease or a variation.
I'm just saying.
But the point is insurance now gives us a hard time for different medications because she doesn't have the RA marker or the MG marker. Different video for different day. The point of this is, well, there's several points I could make, but what you want to, what? Oh, Winnie. Oh, she's licking her chops. Sorry, ADHD video.
Would you like a banana, babe?
Yes, please. So, sorry, that thing stuck in my tooth. So when what I'd recommend, we both recommend is,
Yes.
especially when you have all these problems, you need to do research yourself. Now, I'm not talking go into your doctors and be obnoxious and say, Google said this and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh.
What I'm talking about is I want you to consider the doctor's side of it. They see probably anywhere from 15 to 25 patients a day. They only have a small amount of time to kind of familiarize themselves. Even if you're a patient there, remember, they only see you once a month or a couple months. It's not like they know you, and it's not like they live with you and see your symptoms on a daily basis and know what makes it worse, what doesn't. They just can't know that stuff, no matter how good of a picture you paint them in those couple minutes that you first talk to them. Like, for example, with the prednisone. Prednisone is a known troublemaker with bone density. And if you're on higher doses for a long period of time, there's other drugs that they can give you. One is called Fosamax, I think I pronounced that correctly, which help with your bone density. Now, all of a sudden that her bones are so weak, they're like, well, Fosamax and IV, they're talking about IV drugs now. And it's like, well, why didn't you guys mention any of that stuff a year ago or longer? And it's easy to get mad and say doctors are incompetent and blah, 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 blah.
But
And granted, that is their job, and they should be on top of things. You know, we are ignorant, we're just the patient. However, at the end of the day, if you ride or die with that mantra, who's going to suffer? You. Now, the doctor might feel bad, but, well, he should have given me this a year ago. Well, even if he should have, you're the one who's screwed now because of it. So that's kind of why I'm making this video. Remember, doctors only have a couple minutes. They try their best most of the time.
right.
But they can't possibly remember everything. So what your job is, and I know this sounds obvious, but again, I found lately that things that you think are obvious, a lot of people, they aren't until you say it out loud. You're like, oh yeah, that is obvious. Why didn't I think about it before? So that's why I'm making these videos. I'm not trying to be obnoxious or a know-it-all. If you know me, you'll know that I profess to knowing next to nothing, truly.
Yes.
So it's why I invite people to call me out and debate. And, we can debate verbally and, whatever. But, so we're like, well, thinking, why didn't this doctor mention this a year ago or a couple doctors? Well, it's because they've been trying and we've been trying to lower the prednisone. But every time we try to lower it, she gets sick or something happens and she needs this because her body doesn't produce its own cortisol. Right. And that's another thing prednisone does is make up for your cortisol. It does a bunch of stuff really good. But it does a bunch of stuff really bad too. So so they're in the mode, I think, what we think of thinking of trying to always lower it. So they think, well, it's going to get lower, it's going to get lower. And so were we. And that's why you kind of lose focus of mid to long term, where we should have been like, hey, it's already been like 5-6 months or a year, because it's been 2 years, in total. So a while ago, we should have been like, look, I know we're trying to get down on this, but can we start some of the meds to help with the bone density? And they might have been like, well, it's too soon for that, or yeah, that's a good idea. The point is they're human, they're not perfect, and you've got to help. Not be obnoxious, but help, because at the end of the day, it's your body and your health. So I don't know who needs to hear that, but don't sleep on working with your doctor and bringing up ideas. They might be ignorant or dumb, or you might bring up something that is true, and the doctor argues it, and they're wrong. In that case, you have to maybe find another doctor or get a second opinion.
That's true.
Like I was arguing with my doctor, I wanted him to sign, and some of you might not agree with this, but whatever. I didn't want my daughter to get her last round of vaccines for school, and there's a way to do it where if the doctor signs it, you don't have to do it. And, I brought all the information in. I said, he's like, well, vaccines are good. And I said, well, why don't we start with you taking out the paperwork that comes with the vaccine that you hand to patients, to kids' parents, where the back of the pamphlet is full of all the side effects up to including death. And then, I went over all the vaccine database, all the stuff. And you can verify with my wife, she was right there. His only response, and I like this guy, I'm not putting him under the bus. They're trained to do this. His only response, his only rebuttal. I thought he was going to be, I'm going to be honest, I thought he was going to school me with a bunch of stuff that I hadn't considered. I still don't want that poison getting in her, but whatever. His only rebuttal was, well, 10 years ago, 4 kids in the area. I thought he was going to say die, so is my wife.
Do you have, babe?
Not long.
Okay.
He goes, 4 kids in the area got measles and got pretty sick. And after my wife just sat there and looked at him in silence for like 10 seconds, I was like, you know, that's your cue that no matter what you tell this guy or this person in any type of, when you get that level of nonsensical rebuttal or response, you know that the conversation is going nowhere at that point. So I just gave up. But outside, you're going to run into stuff like that, and you're going to have to learn, you deal with it too. My point of the video is although in general, for the most part, you've got to work with your doctors. You got to help them. Because remember, you think, well, they should know everything and know me. They only see you for a couple minutes, relatively, every couple months at most, unless you're really sick. And even then. So do yourselves a favor and remember that. That's the gist of it. So again, this might be a wasted breath. I hope it's not. Let me know. Peace out.